ABSL Summit. Transform to thrive.
AI. Everybody wants to talk AI, right? Will it save us? Will it destroy us? Will it make us a lot of money? Will it not? I mean, we all know that at this point in time, the answer is we have no idea, right? We don't know what's going to happen, and this is why I wanted to rather share some things that we know already work, and ways that you can use AI, implement them in your shared service. Before we get into that, just very quickly to make sure that we understand each other, you really need to look into what AI isn't. And this is, I don't know if you saw this, but Amazon Fresh had those shops where they would have, people would come in, they would take whatever they wanted, and then they would leave. And then AI would be watching everything they do, and it would charge them for it. So upon closer investigation, what was found that this sophisticated AI was actually 1,000 people in India watching what you're doing through cameras. So when talking AI, you really need to make sure that what we're talking in terms of AI really is AI. And you see this a lot on the market. You see people say their product is AI, and then when you look behind the scenes, you can see that it's actually a lot of ifs. So with this, let's see what AI is. AI is basically when we want computers to imitate human intelligence. And this is a very broad definition, but I think it's a very good one, and it fits. And of course, lately we've been talking GenAI a lot, and GenAI is this strange thing where basically you put a lot of information into a model, and this model learns. So whatever you put into the model, this model then can do, and so you put some data into it, and then it knows Kung Fu, and this is what GenAI is. But you do have to be careful with GenAI, right? When you ask Google's Gemini, give me a random number between 1 and 10, it will always tell you 7. If you ask Bing Chat, give me a random number between 1 and 10, it will always tell you 7. You ask Perplexity, it always tells you 7. You ask ChatGPT 3.5, it always tells you 7. Only when you got to ChatGPT 4, it knows that it cannot do this, so it generates some Python code to give you an actual random number, as random as a computer can give you. So those things, though still not perfect, they can do a lot of things for us. And I wanted to share 3 examples of this, or 3 ways you can use AI in your shared service. First one is something that I think we all have touched at this point in time, and this is GenAI for personal productivity. A lot of great things we can already do, like when both me and my wife, when we work from home, I often hear from the other room, Andrzej, can you come here and help me? And she's very good with Excel, but some formulas are just something that she never wrote. And I am happy to help my wife, that's what you do, but I'm not always there. So I introduced her to ChatGPT, and now it writes all the formulas for her, the ones that she's not able to write herself. Programming, I think we all know those algorithms are very good at programming. And if you need to, it's not going to write the next, Windows system for you, but if you need a quick snippet of code, in this case, I had to write some code in JavaScript, and I hate JavaScript. So I just gave it to a machine, and it does it for me. What is quite interesting, I think we all saw how those algorithms can create text, and social media posts or things like that. But just recently, I tried in Microsoft Copilot, I tried how it works in Outlook, and I asked it, we've been writing this use case to be put on UiPath's webpage about a success story of a customer, right? And basically, great process, great story. It was published, and then we are at the point where everybody says, thank you, it was great working with you, and so on, right? So my first idea was I'm going to hit reply to all. I will say, thank you, everyone. Hope we do this again, and basically send it. But then I thought, maybe a few more sentences would make sense. So I put it in Outlook Copilot, and I say, thank everyone for great cooperation, and especially Pat for great content. Pat was basically the one writing. Everybody rest was just managing the whole process. So it came up with this text, which is nice, but a little bit too official, great cooperation. And by the way, the name of the customer, I didn't write in the prompt, but when you are using it in Outlook, it reads through the conversation that you're having, so it knows the context of what you're trying to write. And so good text, too formal. So basically, you click a button, you change to casual, and then it creates something that more reflects how we have been cooperating. And I do understand some people say, yeah, but this is machine writing, not you. Yes, maybe, but this is a nice reply. And what I would have written is, thank you, everyone, hope we do this again. So I think this is still nicer. But when you think about it, not just about writing emails in Outlook, but you have a lot of tickets, a lot of emails your people are replying to. If you put this technology into your ticketing system, then it's not about the machine answering the emails for you. It's about the machine preparing the draft for a person who will take a look at it, and if it's good, they're going to just click send, and if it's not good, they're going to rewrite it. Yeah? Another great example is data analysis. I'm not going to go too deep into that, but I was really amazed. I'm a Six Sigma black belt. I do some trainings on Six Sigma, and some of those algorithms are very good at this, especially ChatGPT. You need version 4 for this. They will give you descriptive statistics. It will create charts of the most important data for you, even things like correlation matrices, and box plots, which we all know is the best kind of plot. So, of course, it's not going to replace your data scientists, but it can give you, if you know what you're doing, it can do the first 80% of work for you, and then you do the 20% where you really need a human and a human experience. The second part of things you can do and what you can already implement with great success are ready-made AI solutions. And so here we're talking AI that is very, very complex, but it's packaged inside a product that is very, very easy to use. And two examples that we've been doing quite a lot of projects on those lately. One is intelligent document processing. So a lot of people will call it intelligent OCR, but it's not really, I mean, the OCR part no longer matters. It's about intelligence. And basically what it does is you put a lot of documents into it, whatever process you want to automate, and it will try to classify them first. So a classic example, it can be invoices, credit notes, I don't know, account statements, things like that. It will classify them, but when it doesn't know what it is or it's not sure, it puts it into the validation station, and then a human makes a decision. But it's not just for further processing, but the machine learns on this example, and so the next time it's going to know. And then it goes into extraction, and it extracts the data that you need. So for an invoice, it would be a set of fields. And then again, if it's not sure, if it doesn't know, it goes to a validation station. And this validation is again used to retrain the model. So contrary to the old OCRs, it's getting better and better as you go on. And then, of course, basically your data is structured, and you can just give it to a robot or any other kind of automation, because now it's very easy. And you can do this. I mean, invoices is something that a lot of companies start with, but we had great success with other structured or semi-structured kinds of data. Like here's an example with account statements. And another heavy AI tool packaged in an easy-to-use product would be communication mining class of tools, where you do the same thing like with intelligent document processing, but you do it to unstructured data. So basically, you have something like an incoming email, and first thing is, you need to classify it. So in this case, the tool decided this is policy, amendment of the policy, and then this is an address change kind of amendment. So that is the first thing, and the second thing is it's going to try to extract entities, so the data that is needed to process this particular email. This sort of stuff I've been doing, I've been part of the projects that have been trying to do that starting from scratch with your own models. This is horrendous amount of work. It can work. It's doable, but you need very specialized software and very specialized people. And here, you just take a tool and you just use it. So those specialized AI systems, a very good idea. When you want to use AI, you don't know where to start. And the third part is, and this is something that with GenAI, a lot of companies try to go for that. So they say, I'm going to take all of my documentation, I'm going to teach the model all of this data, and then it's going to be able to answer questions for me, which makes a lot of sense. Unfortunately, teaching the model is quite expensive because it costs $2 to $3 million to teach your own model. So you would have to have quite big pockets and a very good project to be able to pay for it, and then your data changes and you have to do it all over again. So probably most companies wouldn't do that. So there's ways to go around that. One of them would be copilots. Microsoft has those copilots. You can try them for free. There's a trial that you can check. And basically what you do, this is a very simplistic example. You can try it out by creating a copilot, and you say, in this case, I said, this is going to be an Office Summary assistant, because I wanted to try it on the data that I can share with anyone. So in this case, as a source of data, I gave it our web page. And you can give your web page to Copilot and say, you're going to be answering questions about our company, what it can do, and how it does that, and so on. And basically, very easily, 2 minutes, you create such an assistant. You can play with it on a web page. You can put it on your web page. In this case, I put it on our Teams channel. And then you can ask it, okay, so what does Office Summary do? And it tells us what Office Summary do based on what it found on the web page. What trainings do we offer, and so on. And the great thing is, it actually gives you links to the source material. So where did it find the data? And this way you can check whether it's right or not. It's not perfect. It's not always going to answer exactly how you want it to, but compared to the chatbots that we would usually do that take a lot of time and a lot of money to prepare, this you can whip up in 5 minutes, and then you can work on getting it better and better in time. Another one is GPTs on OpenAI. In this case, we would just put our UiPath development best practices into a GPT to check whether we can quickly build an assistant for our junior developers. And it's very easy. You actually converse with the model to tell it what it should be doing. And it creates an image for you, of course, because ChatGPT really likes to brag about the ability of creating images. I asked it to be more Japanese, and I don't think that's what I wanted. Especially that it clearly shows that those models still don't understand how hands work. But one way or another, I upload our best practices, which is a PDF file of like 40 pages of text and screenshots, and then I can start asking it questions. And the test question for me is, how do I name my variables? Because our best practices are different from UiPath's best practices, so I know that it is using my data. But those things, they will sometimes do things by themselves. They won't always answer exactly how you want them to answer. So you can do basically the same thing yourself, but this now requires some expertise and some time, because RAG frameworks, so retrieval augmented generation frameworks, work in a way that you put all your knowledge in a knowledge database. Usually it's going to be a vector database. And then you have a framework that when a user asks a question, the framework first tries to find any knowledge that could be connected to this particular question. And then, only then, it sends it to an LLM engine, basically saying, answer this question in the context of this information. And here you already have a lot of control over how it's doing. So if I ask it, can I bring a dog to the office? We did one, we called it Cyber Ola. Ola is our head of administration. And we did one we did an administration chatbot. So when you ask it, can I bring a dog to the office? It says, yes, you can bring a dog to the office, and it gives you information about what file it took information from. You can also ask it Polish labor law questions, because we put Polish labor law in there, which is risky. It's not an easy read, but it works. But if you ask it, can I bring a horse to the office, we specifically told it, if you don't find the answer, don't try to make it up, because those models sometimes do. So it's going to tell us, I don't have the data on this. Please go and talk to the administration team. So those things you can already do, and we know they work. And there's a lot of good examples already implemented that you can have a look at. And if you want to know more about what other shared services are doing, because I think it's really important to see what other companies are doing and how they're doing it, to get some inspiration and to maybe benchmark a little bit. Together with ABSL, we have created this report. Early this year, we had a survey where we asked ABSL members to tell us in a survey what's going on, what are they doing, where they are, what the strategy is, and we have compiled it into a report. So there's a lot of data there. About RPA, IDP, machine learning, conversational platforms, generative AI, tips and tricks and outlooks for the future, and also some comments from technical experts, Agnieszka included. So if you want to see what the others are doing, if you want to learn and see what ideas maybe you can get from them, that would be a good source. We're going to have this report on ABSL webpage in about a week or two, but you can already download it from our webpage. It's about 60 pages long, so that's quite a lot of data, but I think it's well worth reading. So with this, thanks a lot. Let's implement what we can and see what happens. Thanks.